It was obviously an all-timer. Carlos Alcaraz, the young superstar, loses the first 2 sets, rallies to win it in 5. That's 5 Grand Slam titles for him now. He's now the 3rd youngest to ever do it, behind only Bjorn Borg and Rafael Nadal. We're watching a young GOAT here, aren't we?
We are, and everyone has been saying that about him for quite some time in terms of the talent, the shot making, and thing about if you're going to be one of the all-time greats, you got to be able to win on all surfaces. And clay is not necessarily the easiest surface for a bunch of people. Obviously, it was for Nadal, but all the greats have won on all the surfaces. They've won all the events, right? And so Alcaraz clearly has that ability. And watching him in center, look. Tennis is the only sport, Gary, that I never played at any, level whatsoever in terms of just, recreational or organized, that I can sit and watch an entire match.
Yeah.
Tennis is the only sport that I can say that about. And to watch those 2 dudes go at it, the 2 best players in the world in the final of a slam, and to play at that caliber, like the shot making was ridiculous by those 2 guys. And as tennis fans, they gave us something that we may never get again in our generation in terms of how good that match was. And granted, I know it was triple match point for Sinner, and he had 3 unforced errors in a row to be able to allow Alcaraz to come back. But still, the shot making in and around those shots, even after those unforced errors, was remarkable. And if this is one of those catapults for Alcaraz, who, as you said, now has 5 slams, he's never lost in a final, to then go out and win, 5 of the next 11 or something like that, we would not be surprised.
I like the way you put it. I, like you, never really played tennis other than grab a racket at an apartment complex when I was young or something like that. And more often than not, we'd end up trying to hit home runs out of the tennis courts as opposed to just play tennis, right?
Right. Same thing.
But like you, I grew up watching tennis. Like Andre Agassi and all of that stuff, Boris Becker, I lived through it. And I don't watch it as much as I used to, and I don't watch it as much as I should, but every time I sit down and watch high-stakes tennis, I enjoy it. It is a fun watch. And full transparency, I didn't get to sit through all of this because I was on a golf course. But I understand what took place yesterday morning. And you mentioned the 3 unforced errors in the 4th. We're so focused on Alcaraz just did something that very few people have ever done, that does kind of get lost a little bit. Yesterday morning, the number 1 player in the world, if Tyrese Halliburton would have been in the stands, he could have hit him with the choke thing, because you gave one away, man. And I watched his press conference last night, and he seemed sick, like he knew he gave one away.
Oh, 100%. Like, those moments are somewhat rare that a player of that caliber do not capitalize on those moments. I mean, that was triple championship point for the number 1 player in the world, the number 1 seed in the tournament. And it's one thing if Alcaraz had made just 3 ridiculous passing shots for winners to stave off those championship points, but there were errors by Sinner. Now, sometimes the word unforced error to me is not always accurate, because sometimes someone hits a really good shot and you just hit it into the net because you weren't expecting that shot or that spin or what have you. Like, that kind of matters. But at the same time, player of that caliber, you're supposed to be able to overcome whatever your opponent sends at you. And for Sinner, that one's going to hurt for a while. And the question will be how he responds to it. Like, what's he going to look like here in a couple weeks when we get to the U.S. Open here in New York, if he comes back and plays with a vengeance? How do you respond to such a disappointing loss? Will say a lot about Jannik Sinner.
Let me ask you a nerdy TV question, because I noticed when you guys were handling the French Open highlights last night, you didn't just show me highlights. You would show me like the first set, and then you would go to a post-match interview with Alcaraz, and he would talk about what happened in the first set, and then you'd pick up the highlights. I don't think that's the way everybody handles those, but I thought it was really neat, and almost like you were telling a story as opposed to just showing me shots. Again, maybe nerdy TV stuff, but talk to me about the logic behind that. That's not the way everybody handles that situation, is it?
No. That's not very common. Now, there'll be sometimes we'll do, let's say, a standard highlight.
Right.
And sometimes we'll throw in a soundbite here or there that came from the post-game press conference because it spoke to a very specific moment. But to your point, every highlight is really a story.
Yeah.
We're telling a story through video, right? And that story was so epic, it required a different type of storytelling. Right. And not only did we break down the highlight to video and sound, but we also split up the reads. Right. David Lloyd did the first 2. I did that 4th set, and then Dave did the 5th. Right. With sound in and around it and graphics and notes and everything, because that game had three different stories.
Yes.
Right? You want to tell them, you want to separate those stories in a way that makes the viewers understand fully what happened, even if they didn't see it for themselves. And that's why we took that approach. And I appreciate you saying that it resonated with the viewers, because, we're so inundated with what we do. We kind of don't always realize how something is received, but that's what we were going for, to make people understand that this was epic and it needed a different type of storytelling.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous. And I wanted you to know that, people noticed that it was something, it felt big. It felt like, hey, we want to tell you about something really big that happened today. And you guys knocked it out of the park. It helped me catch up on what I missed while I was out on the golf course.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.